Hello guys, it's me Simo Urahara, and in this video we're gonna talk about what was the first weapon of the Shinigami before they invented the Zanpakuto. And before I start talking about the topic of this video, I wanna say thank you for your good feedback on my last video. You did an amazing job by your likes, guys, and I hope you do the same thing for this video. And besides the likes, you who are watching the video, give me your opinions. Make a comment, because I read them all and many times I reply to them. The important thing, guys, is I open to you the door for discussion, and I have never made a video and in my mind I want to teach you something about Bleach, or I'm gonna be the source of your information. No, that's not me, because I know a lot of you know the story very well. Maybe you know something I don't know, and vice versa. I know you watch my videos because you want to hear my thoughts, my opinions, and that's the same thing for me. That's why we have to share our thoughts, guys. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same. Moreover, I see your comments as a keys for new ideas, because sometimes I read that someone said to me, your video made me rethink about this point again. And this can happen to me too. When I read a comment of someone, I say, oh, he has mentioned really an interesting point. I'm going to search for it. And that's how a new topic can be born. So don't sleep, guys, on giving a comment if you really have something to say. So guys, we will talk about what was the weapon the Shinigami were fighting with. The history of the Sword Society is estimated to be 1,000,000 years old, according to Rukia, and probably more according to the story of the monk Ichibi Yutsubi, while the history of the creation of the Zanpakuto according to the novel was around the days when Ikimokudomoi attacked the Sword Society. And here's a small challenge for you guys. Pronounce right now Ikimokudomoi without mispronouncing it. Ikimokudomoi! I'm just joking, I'm the last one who can speak about this side. So as I said, the Shinigami at the time were in the process of inventing the Asauchi, and Yamamoto was still a young man. And here an important question arises. What was the Shinigami's weapon they were fighting with? For me, one of the possibilities that I'm thinking about is that they were fighting with other well-known methods such as Hakuda and Kido, and perhaps Kido may be one of the oldest Shinigami's techniques that they used to fight in that period, as long as this method is based on spells, meaning that it doesn't need any additional weapon to master it. It depends on the Shinigami's personal skills only. And there are some examples about that in the story. Nanao never possessed a Zanpakuto, but she was good in using Kido. In fact, she was going to join the Kido squad if it wasn't for Kyurako's intervention, who made her join his squad. Hachigen, although he has a Zanpakuto, his fighting style is based only on Kido. Also Yurichi, although she owns a Zanpakuto and she has Shikai and Bankai, however, she doesn't like to fight with it. Her fighting style is focused only on Hakuda and Hoho, with the use of Shinku, which is a combination of Hakuda and Kido together. I mentioned these examples to you to show you that the lack of a Zanpakuto, as we know it at the time, doesn't mean that the Shinigami were powerless, because there are many other ways to fight. But at the same time, the Zanpakuto remains the mysterious link in this matter. The Zanpakuto as a physical form is important in the console process, and we will talk about this point shortly. But at the same time, it's not the basis of the power of the Zanpakuto. The power of the Zanpakuto lies in the spiritual power transmitted to it, and when that happened, the Shinigami and the Asauchi enter into a spiritual stage, so to speak, and eventually the Asauchi is formed in the form of a spiritual entity and has a name and a release command and then Bankai, in the sense that the Asauchi is like the bridge between the Shinigami and his spiritual power. So was there another method before the invention of the Asauchi? We don't know. However, there are instances in the story where some Shinigami were able to make contact with their Zanpakuto without the need for Asauchi. For example, Toshiro. The latter had a contact with his Zanpakuto Yorimaru before he had an Asauchi, before he even thought of becoming a Shinigami. When he was living with his grandmother, he had a vision in which he saw Yorimaru in his true form. We don't know if Toshiro was seeing Yorimaru inside his inner world, or it was just a normal vision. Unfortunately, we have never seen Toshiro's inner world. And by the way, I hope one day we will see the inner world of some Shinigamis. For example, in the novel, we have seen the inner world of Hisagi, and it was like this. Anyway, back to our topic, it can be said that the meeting of the Shinigami with his Zanpakuto is possible without the presence of an Asauchi. But the problem could be in communication. And I think that the Asauchi was facilitating this issue through Jinzen process, by which the Shinigami strengthened his relationship with the Zanpakuto. Other than Toshiro, there is Ichigo, who got his first Zanpakuto without having an Asauchi of Nimaya. And far away from the talk that this wasn't his true Zanpakuto, as a matter of fact, White, who had the role of an Asauchi, enabled Ichigo to make contact with his Shinigami power, and you know the rest of the story. There is also Azashiro Soya. Although the events of his story are in the novel Spirits Are Forever With You, and I can't say for sure whether all the events of his past are all canon or not, but according to what was stated in it, Azashiro Soya's Bankai appeared before he even had an Asauchi, when he was a child. He got to meet Uruzakuro in her Bankai form. That's why, in my personal opinion, I said that the Shinigami were fighting with swords from the beginning, but they didn't know how to extract their spiritual power through swords. Perhaps it was in another way. But the sword fighting as a style was present. Why? Because we mustn't forget an important thing, which is one of the main tasks of the Shinigami is purified souls, whether they were ordinary souls through the console, and in this case they used the handle of the sword, and if it was a hollow they would cut it. So see what I mean, guys? Before talking about the Zanpakuto as a weapon, it was actually a tool to purify the souls. And maybe that was the main job of the swords of the Shinigami before the concept of the Zanpakuto. Maybe what Nimaya did as an improvement was enabling the Shinigami to extract their inner power through Asauchi in the form of a sword. So here, guys, I'm asking you, what could be the weapon the Shinigami was using before Nimaya invents the Asauchi? On the other hand, according to Kubo's latest answers, he said that the Zanpakuto's name can be with another Shinigami, but as a condition they shouldn't be at the same era. Which means that Yorimura, for example, it could have been with another Shinigami before it moves to Toshiro. However, we can't say the same thing for Ryujin Jakka. Ryujin Jakka may be the only Zanpakuto alongside with Ichibi's Zanpakuto Ichimonji that hasn't another master except Yamamoto, because Ryujin Jakka was considered to be the oldest fiery Zanpakuto, which means when the Zanpakuto was invented for the first time, Yamamoto was also there. So it's clearly that he was among the first Shinigamis who got their first Zanpakuto, and he was the first one who embodied his Zanpakuto as a fire type. So guys, that's the end of my video. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.